Did you know that weakness, frailty, and sickness do not need to be symptoms of old age? A strange topic, you may say, for a business podcast, but my guest today is Julie Sheahan, and she started and owns and runs 3D Physiotherapy Health Group. Julie is an absolute superstar, and we spend a lot of time digging into her perspective and viewpoint and what she's discovering about preventative healthcare, and specifically healthcare for aging people who are getting older and who want to take a different path than the majority of people do as they age. We also dive into the structure and makeup of her business, how she finds legendary people to fill the gaps and to work with her, and what she's learned about her own tendency to implement amazing things very quickly and the effect that that can have on her team. This episode is so much fun, and I hope you get inspired, not just from a business perspective, but from a health perspective. There's so many cool things and great conversations that we have. So enjoy. Let's take it away. Julie, thanks so much for joining me in the studio today. It's super cool that you're here.
Yeah, thank you. I'm really excited.
Julie, we've had a couple of conversations. So I understand a little bit about what makes 3D Physiotherapy Health Group so amazing. But why don't you start us off by tell us what 3D Physio is.
So we're a physiotherapy practice. We have 2 locations, plus we go to Bort now, visit Bort. Our new location is a renovated practice in St Aidan's Road, and we have 5 physios. And up there we've created an exercise studio because we really believe in exercise as medicine. And our original practice wasn't quite big enough for that. So we've created a beautiful new exercise studio, plus a big room off to the side that we can do yoga, meditation, Pilates, like pack-up, set-up groups. We call that the breathing room. So it's an active wellness kind of studio is where we want to take it. So we've been in that since July last year. The original practice, which we kept, has now got a podiatrist in it. So Tim Devereaux is our podiatrist, and he's amazing with biomechanics. So he fits in beautifully with the physios. And then 2 naturopaths as well. So, yes. Right. So going for a really holistic approach to health and wellness, and that's the 3D, the 3 dimensions of ourselves, so body, mind and soul. And in the physio world, it's called a biopsychosocial model of care. So the body, the psyche, and social. So, environmental impacts as well. So when someone comes in to see us, we're not just treating their knee. We're not just treating their neck. We'll look at all of the reasons why that injury has come on in the first place. And we teach the clients, what has caused the injury. And often they know, but sometimes they don't, because it can be biomechanical. There can be lots of factors. And then we teach them how to self-manage. So what can you do to treat yourself? So we don't believe in maintenance and reliance on ongoing therapy. We like to get in, help them understand what's going on, help them understand how to treat it themselves. And it's usually some kind of strength program, exercises, and then how to prevent it happening again. So we're teaching people about preventative model of care. So that's the way we like to work, and it's the long-term solutions that we're after, and I think we have a lot of integrity with that. We back ourselves in. If we fix everybody and help everybody and they self-manage, why do they need to come back? But invariably we fall off the wagon. We don't do our exercises. Or we get another injury for some reason, or and they trust us to come back because they know we're not going to hook them in for long-term care. We're just going to sort them out and send them on their way again and help them, live their best lives. So
look, that's an element of the physio industry that I've heard complaints, and I've had some myself about in the past, is that you come to the physio to get the issue sorted. But in the past, with some physios, I've felt like, there's more, I don't come out of there really understanding. And they touch a few places, give me some exercises and say, you need to come back in 2 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever it is. And I go, I don't feel like I got a solution here. I feel like I'm part of the business model is just getting me back in continually. And so it's pretty refreshing to hear your approach. I love the awareness of if we actually help people, then they're free. They know more. They're aware of how to prevent issues in the future. And really what you're doing is contributing to the health of a region and a culture and a society in our little pocket of the world, because you have a community that is more aware of the impacts of what they do on their body. How did you always start out like that, or has that been an evolution to get to this real giving and generous kind of approach that's really the opposite of like the tight-fisted approach?
I think physio in general is really good at teaching people how to be strong and to do exercise. We're very big on exercise prescription, as well as we're really good with manual therapy. We have always, in the businesses that I've run, we've always had that model of what have you done to cause it, what can you do about it now treatment-wise, and what can we do to prevent it. But what we're doing now, which we're doing so much better, is communicating that better to the clients and helping them. And what we're trying to do is bring them on the journey so that they're actually a really active part of that. And, I liken it to a dental checkup. So what we're trying, this is a mission. Like, it's something that is not going to be for everyone, because a lot of people are busy and they just want you to lay your healing hands on and fix them.
Yep.
And they want to go back and do what they do. They don't want to do exercise. And we definitely recognise that there's a group of people that don't want that. And so we're obviously going to provide that for clients, but with the conversation that if you did your exercises, you wouldn't need me. Or if you did what we asked you to do and whatever, then you probably wouldn't need that ongoing care. But for those that are, our ideal client is someone who is really keen on aging well, on being the best they can be in their chosen sport if they're athletes. And they've got that buy-in. They want to do stuff to help themselves, and they're interested in their body, and they want to partner with us, I suppose, and not just have us do something to them and then send them on their way. But it's not for everyone, and it is a mission, because if we get this right and we can actually achieve this preventative model of care, where people aren't just waiting till they've got a sore neck, or they roll their ankle, or they do their knee, or repetitive issues. Instead of waiting for that to happen, they're actually preventing that because they're strong and they're mobile, and it's a very different way of looking at treatment, and most people aren't in that mindset. So it is going to be challenging for us to achieve it. But, we're big dreamers. I'm a big dreamer. And thankfully I've got this beautiful team around me that are all so invested in this mission. Yeah. We've just done an alignment day last Friday, and we talked about all of our personal values and then our team values and, what is important to us as a team. And then we talked about our personal why are we here? What is our higher purpose, and why, and then the business organisation why are we here? What are we doing? What we're doing? Not just to earn money, but what is our higher purpose? What is our biggest mission here? And it is about helping people live their best lives. And so everybody's on that same page, which is awesome because we're all in the, in the same, all heading in the same direction, all want the same things.
Yeah.
So now we're sort of teasing out, what does that look like? At every touch point that a client comes to see us at 3D, how do they have the most awesome experience? Not just ordinary, I guess, just every phone call, every email, when they walk in the door, how does it feel? How does it look? How does it smell? And building that sense of community and that sense of belonging so that they feel safe with us. And then once you have that beautiful rapport and they trust you, then you get to do the good work, and then you get to help them understand that if you did this or you did that, then, you can be awesome in your sport. You can have an amazing performance outcome, or you can grow old in a way that's not scary, that you're not going to grow old fearing that you're going to fall over or feeling you're going to break a hip, or going into old age with fear is significant. And people's activity profile shrinks as they get older. Once they might have an injury or they might get a bit weak, and then they won't go up and down stairs without holding on just in case, or they don't get up and down off the floor anymore because it's too hard on their knee, or so many different things that shrink their profile to a point where they're actually fearful of doing those things, and then it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Then they can't get up and down off the floor, and they can't go upstairs without holding on. And so what if we change that narrative? I'm so excited about the groups that we're running now are strength training programs for older adults. And I've got 70, 75, 178 doing deadlifts, like 20 kilo deadlifts this morning.
Yes.
It's awesome to see. Their grip strength improves, and that's a really high indicator of general health and wellness, is how strong your grip is.
Really?
Walking speed. So, frailty is not a function of aging. It's just that we don't do it. We don't do the things that we can do and need to do to stay confident and healthy and strong. So, yeah, that's where we're at.
Julie, let's just unpack this a little bit, because it's something that I'm incredibly passionate about. I know to be true, but it is at complete odds with our modern culture and the traditional reactive medical model of healthcare. Oh my goodness, this is big, right? So, how did we get here? Like, from your perspective, we have a cultural understanding and really deep trust in the reactive medical model of healthcare, where we see a doctor, no disrespect to any doctors, but we see them as the only, the oracle of truth when it comes to all things health and wellness. But there's this massive gap between what they're actually enabled to do, and in some cases trained to do, and what we need really to be healthy. And so we end up with people that don't engage with healthcare until they have a problem. And then the problem is not really solved, but the symptoms are treated for many cases. And this is big generalizations, right? But you go to the GP, they've got 10 minutes to see you, and they prescribe you something to manage what you're presenting with. How do we get here, and how did you come to the awareness that you could contribute to healthcare in a different way that is preventative?
The reactive break-fix model of healthcare is steeped in years and years and years of complex reasons. If you look at America, for example, big pharma drive the healthcare system, and it's very political. I think we're really out of touch with nature and our natural way of being, our propensity for walking. Walking is such a healthy thing for all of us to do, but a lot of people don't even walk regularly, let alone nutrition and, real food that wasn't prepared or wasn't grown 6 months ago, that's local. Packaged foods is massive. Our body doesn't even recognise a lot of boxed food. Anything in the boxes is industrial food, and it's not actually food for our cells. So we have gradually moved away from anything natural, real food, real exercise, moving instead of sitting all day. Sitting is killing us as well. So sitting at desks all day, remote controls, driving everywhere, there's so many elements to it. I think getting back to the way that our ancestors lived is something that we do need to do as a community. I mean, that's massive, obviously. But I find it really sad, and I am really passionate about helping people to try and tap back into that. What is real food? Are you regularly exercising and moving your body? And, things like diabetes is massive just because we don't even use the glucose that we're taking in, for example. So that's why we've partnered with naturopaths as well. Like, they're so passionate about health and wellness and nutrition. And I think I don't know that there's a massive amount of, nutritional training in GPs training. And they are really all so busy, and, they don't have a lot of time. So there's lots of factors. But we can reverse it. We can change things. There's real potential for people to get healthy at any age. Like, it's never too late. You can get strong even though when you're older. We run a program called Onero, which is a strength program for osteoporosis and osteopenia, so low bone density. And we now know the latest research is saying we can actually increase bone density. And we've thought for years that we can only, reduce the rate of loss of bone.
Wow.
But we can actually increase bone density with strength training. So again, we're putting women particularly, but men as well, with low bone density through strength training.
Wow.
And getting amazing results. Like, we see women. I'm doing the program at the moment because I really want to know what it's all about. And so I'm trialling it myself. And I'm in with some of our clients, and they're loving it. And they're scared to start with, don't think that they can do it, don't believe they can.
Yeah.
But it doesn't take much to just that gradual progression of overload. And all of a sudden you're lifting weights that you never believed you could. So it's never too late, and we can get really healthy. We can start moving more. So that's our mission.
I love it. So I've always believed that humans were not designed to degrade, and that it's actually what we do in the lifestyle that we lead that leads a lot of people, a high percentage of people, to degrade over time, but that is not innately necessary. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah. Obviously, we age, but we weren't designed to sit on chairs and couches and in cars and have thermoneutral temperatures in our house and in our work environments. We're so far removed. If we think about what our ancestors did with, hunter-gatherers, and we're so far removed from what we should be doing. Even walking, we say 30 minutes a day, but our ancestors walked for days. So, yes, we age, but our body, our bones and our muscles are responsive to the stresses that we put on them. So when we strengthen and when we move, the body just responds to those stresses. So the more resistance we put through our muscles and our bones, the stronger they stay, because the body is smart and it knows that if I'm going to have to lift that load, then I'm going to have extra cells there or extra strength there. So the body responds all the way through our life. So we can actually get strong at any age. And physios are really well set up for that because we understand the body, how it works and how it doesn't work. We understand anatomy. We understand the pathologies like bone density loss and tendon pathologies and, muscle tears. We understand all of that. So we can put all that together and then we modify. So we start wherever anyone is. They can be doing, half a kilo weight to start with. and then we gradually build them up. So it's always doable. And, you know, if you've got a dicky shoulder or a sore back, or we're going to work with that. We're not going to avoid it. We're not going to say we won't do that because that, you know, you've got a weak back. We'll actually strengthen that, but we'll do it in a way that's safe. So, yeah, I've never met anyone we couldn't really help with strength training. And there's definitely, it's challenging to change mindsets. But yes, we're on a mission.
You are on a mission. Let's tackle a couple of classics. We think we're so clever and so intelligent. Like the belief system that I've encountered by and large is that we are smarter and more resourceful, and we understand more now in our current timeline of human history than ever before. But then I run into a few things that just have me questioning that. One topic, and I'm keen to hear what you think about it: barefoot shoes. So the predominant kind of belief around running and podiatry and shoes is that more support and more cushioning is better, because your feet will naturally degrade and they'll become weaker if you don't have any support. What do you think about that?
I'm not an expert on feet. I definitely can treat feet. My thoughts are that obviously our ancestors didn't wear shoes, and they walked and ran on uneven ground, and their feet were, I presume, largely fine. I think that we do pad and support our feet way more than we need to. And I think marketing strategies around, you know, different types of shoes and what you need are a big player in that. I do think, though, that we're not walking on natural ground anymore. We're walking on bitumen. We're running on concrete. So whether our feet can adapt to those really, really hard surfaces when we're running is a different story. So we may need support when we're running on surfaces that aren't natural. I don't know enough about barefoot running. It's definitely areas that people can get really passionate about. I'm not going to buy into it because I don't know enough about it. I do think that sometimes we do need orthotic support for lots of different reasons, in terms of the stability of the ligaments and the biomechanics of your feet, etc. That's why I've got an awesome podiatrist who can answer those questions. You might have to get him in.
I love that.
But yeah, I mean, we're always going to go for as natural as possible, and we're always going to go for strengthening and mobility. So, you know, do you have any stiffness in your ankle, in your feet? There's so many bones in the feet. You know, making sure that everything is you don't have any impairments in your feet, in your knees, in your hips. And having everything as strong as possible and mobile where it needs to be and stable where it needs to be. And if we can't achieve all of that with your makeup, then you may need some kind of orthotic support or, you know, a more supportive shoe. But yeah, we're always going to go for the first options, which are the strengthening and the natural stuff.
Love that. I bring it up because I am on the barefoot trajectory and have been, you know, experiencing some really great success and some really big challenges with it. But it's made me think, right? Because we often, like I said earlier, we think we're the cleverest, strongest, most capable humans in history. And I just don't think that's true. There's plenty of accounts, and even modern day accounts. I saw a video. It's just burnt in my memory. This video of a white fella in Africa with I can't remember the specific country, but it's a video of Kenya, I think. I'm not quite sure, but it's a video of these tribal guys just doing their jumps. You know, the tribes that do massive jumps. They're honestly jumping like a couple of meters in the air. And it looks like, you look at it and you go, oh yeah, looks like a big kind of vertical jump, but you don't think too much of it. This guy is he's obviously not from Africa or that tribe, and he goes to give it a go. His vertical jump looks like my 2-year-old son's vertical jump next to these guys. And he's wearing all of his proper shoes. They're barefoot. Like they are. And other stories of similar regions where people will be running for natives will be running. People have grown up in that environment, have been running for days through the desert and be fine, and to be able to survive, and their body operates off very little water consumption. But they're doing things that we would think, man, I didn't know that was possible. We can't even do that, right? And so you put these two to this belief that, we're the best there's ever been, and look back or look in other areas of the world and see people outperforming and that don't have the modern technology and the crutches that we think we need. Yeah. It's the same in nutrition, right? When you're saying about boxed foods, tell me a little bit more about the impact of that you see from a physio perspective of eating a lot of industrialized food.
We don't purport to be nutritional specialists in any way, but in my own research and my own reading and learning, the mitochondria, which is the powerhouse of our cells, need certain nutrients to actually be able to generate energy for us. And they just don't get it from industrial food because it's not actually food. It's not actually the proper nutrients and, the vitamins and the minerals that our body needs. And so they're starving, and then they trigger this hunger response because they're like, well, we're hungry. And even though you feed them whatever it is, Macca's or, Nutri-Grain or whatever it is, not that I want to, slam any products in particular, but anything out of a box is likely to have lots of numbers, sugar, salt, and not much nutrition in it. And so then our cells, we literally are what we eat. So our cells don't have the right makeup to actually be strong and to be resilient and to be able to, things like protein. Like we need so much more protein than I ever realised. And I'm learning that now, and I'm taking in more protein than I've ever had. But protein is one of the most important elements of our body. Our muscles, everything, all of our cells are made of protein. So when we don't feed our bodies what they need to actually create cellular activity and create cells and to regenerate, then we are going to age more quickly. We can't regenerate if we don't have the nutrients that we need. So, and the body does break down, and, boxed food is highly inflammatory. And so we've got these really high levels of inflammation in our body, and that breaks down our tissues as well. And so, you can end up with inflammatory conditions in the tendons and muscles and in the bones and the joints. So arthritis is a classic example of that inflammatory. Inflammation drives everything. It drives cancer and obesity and type 2 diabetes. So many of the big chronic diseases are driven by inflammation. And inflammation comes from poor eating and lots of other factors as well. So we do have to get back to basics and just eating real food that was alive not long ago. I say to my kids, does it look like it was alive recently? And if it does, then it's probably real food. But if it's, they talk about, eating on the outside of the supermarket, not in the internal section of the supermarket. That's where all the boxed stuff is. But all the stuff in the fridge and all the stuff in the fruit and veg section is real food.
Yeah.
So in order for us to continue to thrive and to live really well and to be healthy and to move well, we have to actually feed our bodies what it needs. So,
I'm on the same bandwagon there and learning very similar things. one of the things that has driven my curiosity and is I'm pretty fortunate to have had a window into history through my cultural and community upbringing as a Christian. We have the Bible, which spans 6,000 years of history. And I read in there, ancient Israelites, my namesake in the Bible, Caleb, led the Israelite army into battle when he was 80 years old. He said, I'm stronger now at 80 than I was when I was 40, and I'm well able to lead this army. And I read that and I go, yeah, all right, I'll take some of that. Teach me how, because it's not what I see around me in many cases. You have YouTube videos about, I don't know if you've ever seen them, like a compilation of 100-year-olds and their little interviews. I watched one in England, out of England, and this she was over 100. They were all over 100, but she said in her interview, in this really posh English accent, I only took up yoga in my 90s. And it's got her like doing push-ups over 100, right? And so you mentioned earlier about exercise as medicine. I want to hear more about that. Like, explain that concept to me and what it looks like from like a 3D physio perspective.
So we now know that healthy skeletal muscle is the most important thing for longevity. So beyond anything else, if you have healthy skeletal muscle, and there's lots of things that go into being a healthy skeletal muscle, including nutrition, the right protein, and the right load, the right exercises. But healthy skeletal muscle, again, helps us avoid all of those chronic diseases. So muscle uptakes our glucose and uses the glucose and reduces inflammation. And there's just so many. You only have to jump on one of the social media platforms and follow a couple of different reputable accounts to realise how important it is to have strong muscles. So, and I just think that people don't believe that they can. I think we see old people now, we see them in nursing homes, we associate getting old with getting frail and getting weak and losing confidence and having poor balance. But it's all because we don't do it. We just don't. It's
not necessary.
We don't continue going to the gym. We don't continue a high protein diet. And I think that this is a gross generalisation, but I think the majority of the population don't realise that it is about using it or losing it, and you will. And arthritis, for example, the most important thing we can do, and all of the research that backs, we run a program called the GLAD program, which is an osteoarthritis management and prevention program for hips and knees, and it comes from Denmark. And the most important first-line treatment for osteoarthritis is strength training and weight loss. So if we can maintain a healthy weight, and that comes back to all of that nutrition, low sugar, high protein, low carbs, and strength training, then, strength training actually reduces the decline in the joints. So the stronger you are, the slower your joints decline, particularly when you've got arthritis.
Wow.
And so having someone come in with knee arthritis and the doctor has said, don't ever squat again, we're like, The most important thing you can do is squat. We'll just show you how to do it properly.
Wow.
Squatting is getting out of a chair, getting off the toilet, getting out of your car. Squatting is something you have to do forever.
It's kind of necessary.
Yeah, it's really, really necessary if you want to get up and down off the toilet by yourself. So those kind of messages is what some people come in with, and we think, oh my goodness. So we do squat and we do strength training with osteoarthritis of the hips and knees, because when our muscles are strong, they splint the joints and they reduce the deterioration in the joint. So changing that kind of mindset, and people come in and go, I'm not going up and downstairs because I'm worried I'm going to wear my joint out more because my doctor said it's got bone on bone and I've already seen the x-ray. And so we don't even x-ray. If someone comes in, we can clinically diagnose arthritis of the hips and knees without X-ray.
Okay.
We don't need to go down that road because that road goes X-ray, surgeon. Oh, you've got arthritis, it's bone on bone, go and see a surgeon. The first line of treatment should be strength training and weight loss.
Right.
And if we help you to lose weight, and then we get you strong, we have had so much success with the GLAD program in people not needing joint replacements.
Really?
And that is the crux of this program, is the prevention, delay or prevention of joint replacements.
Wow.
It's absolutely possible, and we see it every day. We run 6 programs a week, 6 groups a week of this GLAD program, and we get people stronger than they've ever thought they could.
Wow.
And they don't need joint replacements. You know, there's definitely some that end up needing one eventually, but so many, the majority of clients go away feeling stronger and more confident in their bodies, and they can either delay it or they don't need it.
Wow.
And people just don't realise that.
No, you don't hear about that at all.
No. So there's lots we can do. There's lots, but we just have to change the mindset that, you know, we get frail as we get older. We get weak. We fall over. You know, people who break their hip, 30% are dead within a year.
Whoa.
The vast majority won't get back to their normal level of function. Like if they're in their own home, they often go from home to hospital, have the surgery or stabilisation procedure, whatever they need, and then rehab, and often don't get home again independently.
Whoa.
And, you know, these are people that are 70 plus.
Yeah.
So they do have comorbidities as well, but 30% are dead within a year. So
that's a huge
we're
percentage.
trying to prevent, you know, and I used to work on the ortho ward at the hospital, so I've seen it firsthand how debilitating a hip fracture is, and it doesn't need to happen. We can get the hip strong so the bones don't fracture, and we get the muscles and the body strong so you don't fall over in the first place.
Wow.
You know, and our programs work on balance. So we have, like this morning, I have 6 women come in, and guys when they come, but you guys are hard to
nail down.
It's another whole conversation trying to get guys in to look after themselves. You know, single leg standing on a piece of foam, throwing a ball at a wall and catching with one hand. And these are 70, 78-year-olds, you know, all the way 50 to 50 plus.
Yeah.
Balancing, getting up and down off the floor, lunging, deadlifts, overhead press, rowing, all of these awesome exercises.
Yeah.
And these women, like we had a couple, got their personal best this morning.
Hey.
And one of them's got significant scoliosis. And
wow.
But we just work around it. And this is what we love. It's so good because we do change people's lives when they work with us and they believe that they can. Yeah, they can.
Julie, this is so cool just listening to the impact that you're having and what is possible and what you're proving with your clients. I love it. And honestly, we haven't even got to, you know, the structure or history of business yet, but you're already remarkable in my books. Like it sounds like you are really paving the way for a new perspective on aging, a new perspective on health of all ages. But let's get to the practical and the structure of business. Tell me, you said you've got a couple of practices and you travel out to Bort. What does the team look like that actually enable the supporting those practices and your remote service?
So we have 5 physios and 4 reception admin girls. And so the physios all have different areas of expertise. We run a Strong for Life program, which is what I've just described, which is balance, core stability, strength, confidence. The GLAD program, which is the osteoarthritis. The Onero program, which is the osteoporosis. And then we have a couple of the younger physios love athletic stuff, and they're all triathletes, netballers, runners, footballers. So they're really, like, we all live what we preach, everyone's healthy and strong, and so we're passionate about it anyway. And so we've bought this system called the AGSIT system, which is a baseline testing system. So it's 2 platforms. We can look at your quiet standing and see how your balance is. We can look at your strength in your whole body. And we can map out what's the difference between your left and your right sides, whether you're an athlete, can you stand on one leg with your eyes closed? What's your vertical height? Like all of this stuff that we can map out. So we do a lot of baseline testing. So we're about to roll this out where we've created these screening tools for athletes as well as older adults. So if you come in and you're an athlete and you want to know where your body's at, what we've created is this assessment that we look at all of the strength in all of the areas of your body, all of the range of motion, and we pick up on any impairment. So if you've got a stiff ankle, we know that that's going to impair your ability to jump and run, and it's going to actually increase the likelihood of doing an ACL or a hamstring on the football field.
Oh, wow.
So that research tells us that. So if we help you with that stiff ankle or that weak quad, and we map it all out to start with, so you know exactly what you need to work on for symmetry and for strength, then we give you a program and then we reassess you in 6 months with the same thing. So those kind of things are happening at the new clinic. The original clinic in Sternberg Street has podiatrist. So we've got that now, which is awesome. So he's helping us with foot pathologies and high performance stuff as well, runners, and
cool.
Which is good. And then the naturopaths looking after the nutrition and weight loss and gut health and healthy during pregnancy and women's health, that kind of stuff.
Wow.
And then one of our physios lives in Serpentine.
Right.
And I'm passionate about, it's really hard for people who live in rural areas to access good physiotherapy.
Yeah.
And so we were going to Shepparton. I had a girlfriend in Shep who was running this awesome clinic. Unfortunately, things didn't go so well for her during COVID and she closed down. So we reached out to a few regional areas just to find out if anyone would be interested or had a space that we could take on to bring physio. And Bort was like, yes, that would be awesome. So
wow.
We have a room up in the general practice clinic up there. So we go up there 2 days a week. We look after the hospital one morning a week. So Leah goes in and looks after people who are in the hospital.
Wow.
They have a nursing home part of it as well as a... So we look after Bort. Leah also goes to Boral and she does preventative stuff with Boral, which is the
asphalt
in
company.
Charlton. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so OH&S stuff in the foundry up there.
Love it.
Foundry, is that what it's called? Yeah. So so we've got a few things going on there. And then the clinic. So
that's pretty
5 physios
widespread.
in total. Yeah.
And I'm before we dive into the backstory of how you got here, I want to know what are some things that you personally really hang your hat on. So I'm talking wins, awards, accolades, or just general points of success that are personally determined by yourself. You think, I know I'm succeeding. I know I'm running a remarkable business because of these things.
Good question. Well, we've been successful at the Be Bendigo Business Excellence Awards for the last couple of years.
Tell me about that.
Last year, I won the Regional Women's Award.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, which I still find hard to be worthy of, to be honest, because I'm still learning how to run a business. In the physio world, you don't really learn how to run a business in the undergraduate course. So I'm still learning how to run a business.
That's a classic situation for nearly all trained experts. I know it's very much the same in many creative industries. You go to uni to learn the skill, not how to run a business delivering the skill, right? Why do you think, and be as humility bias is possible in this? Please tell me, why do you think you were awarded that particular award?
I feel like they recognised me for what I've achieved so far. And I think that the application does pick up on the passion. And I think it was really easy to answer a lot of the questions because we are so passionate about what we do. And we were also in the running for the Customer Focused Award, and I was really keen for that because it just meant that the whole team, won the award with me because, we're really trying to hone in on the customer experience, the client experience. So, we did well, but we didn't win that part of it.
Yeah.
So I think it's just recognition for where I've come from so far. I've had some awesome mentors, and I feel so grateful to, particularly during COVID, B Bendigo helped us with some mentoring as part of their mentor program, and then I'd never be without one now. Honestly, it's one of the most important hacks, I reckon, for being in business, if you really want to take it on, is having a mentor that so I've had ones for my areas of weakness, which was basically and is still KPIs and numbers, and I have this narrative that I'm really bad at maths. So, and I'm really good at putting people in place that can do that really well, and I just stay in my area of expertise and confidence. So I pay for as good as people as I can afford to do the things that I don't do well, because I figure that they're going to do it way better than me in half the time. So
that's right.
That's a good investment. So,
too right.
And I am someone who does need people around me to bounce off. I'm not someone who, I suppose I can make hard decisions, but I love working with people, collaborating and learning. I'm a big, I just love learning, love absorbing stuff. So I've always got someone who knows more than me around me about stuff, which is good.
That's some of the widely renowned, most clever business people in history were exactly that. Those who knew where their shortfalls were and just got the right people that were geniuses at those things and put them in the right places. That's epic
it's just
work.
a no-brainer, really.
It is, yeah.
Because, you can faff around for so many hours and waste so much time and not actually get anywhere. And I remember a mentor years ago said to me, would you let me loose on your clients? Like, he was a business advisor.
Yeah.
And I said, no way. And he goes, well, what makes you think you can run a business? Like, and it made me sort of go, oh, and I just breathed out and went, oh, right, okay, I don't have to be all over that. Like, and I'm getting better at it.
Yeah.
But it just made me realise that there's absolutely people who go down that training and they have so much more training than I will ever have in a certain area. So why wouldn't you do that and not just waste time?
Yeah.
And then I stay in my lane.
Love that. We've talked about the Regional Women's Business Award. The previous year before that, you won another award at the Business Excellence Awards. What was that?
I can't remember.
I love
what
that.
was the title of that one?
In 2023, 3D Physio won the Health and Care Award.
We did.
When did that come? What stage of your business journey did these awards come at? And I suppose after telling me a bit about that, let's go back to where 3D started and how you actually got to where you are.
So, I started 3D with a physio friend in 2018, and then COVID hit, and so we just literally decided that we were going to try it part-time. We were both working at the hospital. We sort of just set it up and did a couple of days a week and hoped some clients would come. I'm a Bendigo girl, so I've got a really extensive network. I've been here all my life. Worked at the hospital for years, and then I went privately and worked for Ruth Norris, a very awesome physio, years ago at McIver Road.
Yeah.
Worked there for a while. And then I bought into another physio practice and was there for a while. And then I went back to the hospital. And then, so I've been in and out of public and private my whole career, but been here forever. And when you're someone's physio, you tend to become someone's physio for life. And so they find you again. It doesn't take much to advertise. And so we both advertised and, you know, we started getting more clients. And then we got to the point where we could leave the hospital and, you know, build the business together. And then we were both in really different points in our lives, and I ended up buying her out. And so from 2021, 3D was just me. Yeah. And I felt like it's the first time I could step into me and who I was and where I wanted to take the business. And it literally was live or die by my sword. And I think that has been really empowering for me. I had to step up in areas that I wasn't strong in. So it's been a massive learning curve, and it's still a learning curve every day. So COVID was really hard, as everybody knows, but we got through that. And it's just we had to move or buy the new practice because we just were running out of space. And it was literally 2 of us to start with, and then we've just gradually added 1 more physio every couple of years. And there's always been moments where I've had to, I'm not risk averse, so I've had to just bite the bullet and go, I'm just going to put this person on and just, you know, chew like hell, basically, which is what we've had to do a couple of times. Yeah. But, you know, then it comes back to word of mouth is huge in Bendigo. Yeah. And so if we do a good job, then, you know, we can be confident that people will talk about us and tell everyone else that, you know, we do a good job. And, you know, I'm learning more about marketing and how to get our name out there and, you know, looking after referrers and talking to them and helping them understand what we do. But, yeah, by far, word of mouth is our biggest referral source. So.
I would say that would be very similar in all regional areas specifically because of the size of communities. It's, you know, rather than being, you know, 6 degrees of separation to Kevin Bacon, you're like almost 1 or 2 degrees separation to the whole
it's a small town. It's
right?
a big city, but it's a small town.
Yeah, that's right. And so in any business, word of mouth is the most powerful marketing tool, but it's just in regional areas, it's a smaller pool. So that word of mouth gets around a lot faster. And I can see you've really leveraged that, as good businesses do, ones that are really good at what they do. That's not that hard to grow to a point through word of mouth because you get referrers, right? You get people that love what you do, that have personally experienced such a benefit or change in their life. And physio is a huge one. Anything health related, if you can help someone solve an issue or improve their quality of life, they can't help but talk about that, right? That's really, really cool. I was going to ask you about, and you mentioned briefly about it, what's been your strategy of growth? And when putting on new people, you said, you know, at times you've just kind of had to bite the bullet, that you're not risk averse, that you're pretty bold and able to dive into things, that you just put them on and chewed like hell. That's a great strategy. Tell me a little bit about that. Like, how did you grow like that?
Yeah. During COVID, it was really hard to recruit anyone.
Yeah.
So we had too many clients and not enough physio, so we were really, really busy. And then when physio started to become available, it was like, I'm going to have to just grab quality. And, you know, I definitely wouldn't employ anyone. I'm really very, so much more savvy now about recruitment. And I think, again, that's one of the most important things in business is getting the right people around you. And I have the tribe around me now that are just so passionate about what they do, both my admin team and my physios.
How did you attract them? How did you find them?
Interestingly, 5 admin team, they're all the front of house. They're all, if you come in, that's who you're going to see, have all been clients.
No way.
Yeah. And that can be really risky, but we already know, and there's a big gut intuition to this, but we already know they're great people.
Yeah.
We've seen them for a long time.
Yeah.
And they've just been in the right place at the right time. Some of them have gone, hey, I'm interested in this. Do you need this?
Yeah.
And I've gone, yep, absolutely. That just happened recently with our change consultant. We've got a change consultant who's in with us now.
What is a change consultant?
My goodness. I didn't even know that until she offered us services. And I have lots of ideas.
Yeah.
I'm all over the shop all of the time. And I'm like, let's do that. And what that is really destabilizing for my team because I'm just next big thing and next shiny object. And I love all that kind of stuff.
A true entrepreneur.
If that's, I don't know, but I just love.
I can recognize it. That's a classic, classic calling card.
And I'm like, I'm an early adopter as well, so I just love all that. But the team's like, oh, God, what's she going to do now? What's she going to do next? And I didn't realise how destabilising it was.
Yeah.
Long story short, this girl came on and just said, I just want to have a rest from the corporate world for a little while. I might just come and sit on your desk for a couple of days a week. You've got this new practice. And I was like, yep, that's great. And as soon as she arrived, we realised that how much we needed her in the role that she normally runs, which is change management, which is basically someone who facilitates a change in a service or a change in a process.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of me going, let's do that and just doing it and doing it semi-okay, but it not being great for the clients or the team.
Yeah.
Now I have to do change requests. I have to put it out to the team. They get to comment. It's a whole process now.
And how has that changed from destabilizing?
It's the team love it. Because it also makes I can only do one thing at a time and I can do that well. Mm-hmm. So it's been a significant change, but so good. And it's always a struggle for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, but I really want to do it. She's like, you got to finish this bit first.
Yeah,
and you've got to roll this out well. And then we've got to test it with the clients and then we've got to make sure they're happy and then we can do the next bit.
Wow.
So I'm learning that I do need to slow down or I need to prioritise and work out what is the most important thing. And, why this task, why now is what I have to ask myself.
Your personal mantra. Why this task, why now?
Literally. So, and then the team get to feel like they own it and they're not just being dragged along, but they're actually a part of it as well. So that was a big learning curve for me.
It's something that I have noticed and heard about in many entrepreneurs. It's why I, and even actually artists, why I mention that to you, right, it's a key calling card of an entrepreneur is being very driven to find and implement new things. And particularly when we're talking in the business sense, the role of an artist is generally not a painter. The artist in a business is the creator. It's the person who is creating the products, or in your case, the services, and implements. They thrive off implementing a new thing that they see as valuable. Mm-hmm. And so what I see the journey you've been on is realizing the effect that has on the staff and the team around you, because and it's so foreign. It would be so foreign to you for someone to not find that fun, right? Not find that like an adventure, and that there's what's the risk? Why are you? I relate to this, and I've heard many others explain it much better than I can, but teach me how to understand this process. That if you're not lucky enough to have a change consultant land in your lap to help you through this, you really need a change management process or system that it doesn't prevent you from implementing the new and cool and valuable and potentially great thing, service or product. It just helps you get the team on board and implement the things around the actual product or service to enable it to be delivered well, and so that no one gets burnt out.
Exactly. So I'm a big fan now. I still struggle with the taming of that.
Yeah.
And but it's, my stress levels have come down significantly.
Oh, come on.
Because
so good.
I'm not feeling like I have to do it all yesterday.
Wow.
So it's been really good for me because I'm my own worst enemy.
Yeah.
I want to do everything now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, compartmentalizing that and making it a process that is doable and doable really well. Like when we did this change request, it was put out to the team, and then we had a meeting, and they brought all of this stuff up that I didn't even think about, all the issues that we're going to face.
Wow.
And we did end up facing all of those issues. We were rolling out iPads in a Strong for Life group.
Yeah.
Instead of paper, we're trying to reduce our footprint. So, we don't want to shred, we don't want to print, we don't want to get the papers out every day. So we decided to put exercises on iPads, so it's all electronic. 70-year-olds on the iPads. So, they're all like, go back to the chalkboard. I just want a chalkboard. So that was challenging in itself. But all of those things that I was like, this is a great idea, they're going to have exercises at home. We're not going to have paper anymore. And I've got all the bright, shiny stuff. And then everyone's going, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
What about this? And what about that? So it has been really enlightening for me. And my team are really grateful that we have this person there as well.
Yay to this person. So good.
Yeah.
I have loved speaking about all of these subjects with you, Julie. And believe it or not, we're coming up on an hour, and that's like average episode length. But I want to understand a little bit more in here about two things. Your journey, which you've briefly mentioned and touched on, your journey in 3D specifically, and from the hospital and in and out of private. But I want to specifically ask about any challenges, any struggles in business. I always find such value in hearing either the mistakes or the failures or the challenges that people encountered, because we all do, and they're required to grow and learn, and what you learnt from them or how you overcame them.
Yeah, I definitely think that's where you do most of your learning, when you make mistakes, and I've definitely made plenty. I think one of the biggest learning curves I've had is understanding people and understanding myself and how I show up. So there's been times where I like to get honest and vulnerable, and I can go there.
Yeah.
But some people can't. And that was fascinating to me when I first started rolling out, questions like in a one-on-one. I would say, what lights you up? What brings you joy? What can we do here to make you really happy? And what would you love? And the walls go up because some people can't have those tough conversations. So that was, it was coming from the right place from me, but I had to learn that not everyone's comfortable with that. So vulnerability takes courage and honesty and digging deep and knowing who you are and how you show up in a workplace, is the stuff that we're doing now in this current team. And it is challenging, but it's so rewarding.
Yeah.
And so, but I have learned that the people that I need on my team to be able to do that, and the people that I think I can lead well, because I haven't been a good leader for some people. There has just been a disconnect. And I've learned that I'm not going to be everyone's leader, so I need to select people that I can lead. And then the ones that I'm no longer leading are definitely better off in another place, because I can't help them become the best that they can be. And so that's been a really interesting learning curve. And leadership is so hard.
Yeah.
So hard. It's probably the hardest thing. And, looking after people is a really challenging thing in every business. So, and I, am trying to be the best leader I can for everyone, but I've realised that there has to be a connection. that you can't lead everybody, and that some people will thrive with a different leader than me. So
tell me, we did speak about, when we were talking a little bit about recruitment, we spoke a little bit about how your admin team was procured, but we didn't touch on the physio side of things, and I want to bring it back to in relation to what we're speaking about now, in understanding your people. And that can be quite challenging right up the front of a hiring process or a recruitment process. Do you have any practical ways? Well, firstly, how did you select? Do you have a process for selecting and recruiting really high quality physios? And two, what's the process, or what are you looking for when you're thinking, am I going to be able to lead these people well?
My recruiting process over the last few years has been new graduates, which we never used to in private practice, because I've always thought that a couple of years in the hospital, get a grounding in a lot of different areas, and then decide what you want to do.
Yeah.
Private practice is hard. People are paying you for a service. They're expecting to get well, and you don't have a lot of confidence when you first come out. But 70% of new grads are going into private practice now.
Wow.
And so we actually have to change the way we look at things, and we can't just say go to the hospital. There's not enough jobs in the hospital, and 70% are trying to find private work. So a few years ago, I decided to start taking on fourth year final placement students from La Trobe, because I want to give back to the profession as well, because it's been really good to me. And so now we have 1 or 2 students for 5 weeks at the end of the year, every year, and they're in their final placement, final year. So they're almost graduated. So we get 5 weeks with them, and it's like a 5-week interview.
Wow.
So basically, if they're a great fit, we know by the end of that time if they're a great fit for the team.
That's so cool.
And they're offered a job.
Imagine that just wouldn't work in a few, or maybe it would. It's not common practice in a few businesses having a 5-week-long interview, but how cool, what an opportunity to get to know someone, to see how they actually work rather than ask them how they work, to see if they're a good fit.
Yep.
That's
and we
amazing.
Get to train them in our way, like the 3D way. So they're learning. They won't normally have had a private practice role in
blank slates.
Yeah, so they have all different roles, and they've done all the other placements. So they've got some good client rapport skills, and we teach the MUSC stuff. So that's working really well. And otherwise, we did a couple of CCADs a while ago, but we've also recruited because Bendigo. One of my guys at the moment is a mate of one of my sons, and he went to Geelong and didn't work out, so contacted me and said, come into Bendigo. I was like, that's another bite that bit off and chew like hell, because we didn't have space, but we did it anyway. Yeah. And it's paid off. He's just amazing. So, and just lucky with another recruitment. Yeah. So it's all lots of different ways, but mostly now is that new graduate that can come in, and they come in and learn the 3D way. And
what about
we're very big on mentoring, so they get to shadow for
love that
and do nothing, no pressure, for a couple of weeks at least, and just absorb everything, ask lots of questions. They get exposed to all of the teams, so they follow every physio around for a lot. They come into all the groups. So it's a nice, safe transition to becoming a clinician. And then they're still getting like one-on-ones with me every week. Lots of questions. I expect them to ask lots of questions for a long time.
That's great. It sounds like you're providing a really safe place for people to just learn, and without the pressure of feeling like they have to already know, which is a classic. Yeah. What about personality-wise? Like you mentioned, some people gelling really well, and you not being the right leader for some types of people. How do you really? What sort of understanding have you built about different types of personalities that help you recognize which ones will be good and which ones won't?
Firstly, I'm listening to my intuition.
Yeah, good one.
When the red flags go off, I'm hearing them more now.
Yeah.
There's definitely been that in the past, and I've gone, oh, it'll be right. We'll work it out. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's absolutely not. And if you listen to your heart or your gut, it's usually right.
There's actually a superpower in there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm getting better at that. Hungry, humble, and smart.
Nice.
I think it's really important that they display all of those things. So hungry in that they're passionate, they really have avid learners, they want to know more, they ask lots of questions. Humble in that, they're not overconfident, they're not cocky, they're happy to say I don't know or, please help or they're just and really hard workers. And physios in general have to be smart to get through the course to even get in, but smart as in socially as well. And, can they develop rapport and, the ability to care, really, making sure that they genuinely care about what they're doing and they're there for the right reasons. And I think that's the biggest thing is we're not driven by money. We're all warm, fuzzy people in the physio world. And obviously we need to run a business that's, viable and that I need to be really responsible for making sure I can continue to pay everyone. But if we do all of this other stuff that we've talked about today and we give people what they need and we help people understand what they need and then we do an awesome job, everything else just flows. So if you're doing it it's just, it just works.
I love that approach. Absolutely love it. Julie, thank you so much for downloading on us some wisdom when it comes to what's possible with everyday individuals' health, with how you have grown 3D Physio and what the future holds. I want to ask you more specifically, what does the future hold for 3D Physio? What is your vision? You've told us a little bit about your mission. And then also, if people want to connect with you, how could they do that?
Yeah. So in our alignment day last week, we talked about our mission, and it is about helping people live their best lives and this preventative model of care. So big mission. The vision for this year is rolling out this ability to have the integrity with the testing, the baseline measures. So where are you at right now in your body? Like whether you're an athlete or whether you're an older adult, baseline testing you, putting the right things in place for you to treat those impairments that you have, if you have any, or just doing really well with what you've already got, but improving and then reassessing. So I want to try and help people to understand that don't wait till you're injured. Let's prevent things happening in the first place. So really want to roll that out and, map our client journey is the next step.
That's great.
At every step of the way, what does being a 3D client look like? When you come into the clinic, what's it smell like? All of those things I said. What emails do you get? What support do you get? What gift do you get when you arrive? How are you made to be? How do you feel when you leave us? And why not make an awesome workplace for everybody to come to, but also an awesome environment? Yeah, like why not?
Come on, yeah, why not? I have mentioned it before, but one of my favorite books to do with customer and client experience has got to be Unreasonable Hospitality. If you have not read that, put it on your to-read list. That will get you so inspired and energized by what you could implement in the customer experience specifically that would just set you apart from not just any other physio business, but any other business, right? So just a little gift.
I will. I'll put that on there.
Hopefully you're a good reader, an avid reader. Good.
Yes.
Julie, thank you so much. If let's call out a few different types of people that could be listening to this. If you are just an everyday, community member who is not necessarily in the business of physio and resonate with, the mission and your approach to health, how could they approach becoming a client? Like, how do they become a 3D Physio client?
Well, you don't need a referral for physio, so you can just find us on our website, 3dphysio.com.au. We're in St Aidan's Road, up near the orphanage, 178, or they can call us on 54060228.
Nice. And if you're in Bort and want to be a client?
Yeah, on the website as well. So everything's on the website.
Nice.
But also we're at the GP clinic up there. So everybody in Bort knows where the GP clinic is. It's opposite the hospital.
Right.
It's a small town.
Yeah, even smaller than Bendigo.
Yeah.
And what if you're a physio yourself or on the trajectory towards becoming a physio? How could people connect and follow you and see what you're doing? Because you are leading the way in your approach to physiotherapy.
Thank you. Instagram, Facebook. We have those. Maybe TikTok coming up.
Hey.
Our latest recruit is a third-year physio student.
Hey.
She's at one of our admin team now, and she's taking over our socials.
Look out.
Yes.
Keep an eye on the potential TikTok.
Yes. So she might take us into TikTok as well. But yeah, we're on the socials. So 3D Physio.
Love it. Julie, thank you so much again. It's been a joy and an honour to hear your story and hear your approach to preventative healthcare and all things physio. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Caleb.
Well, that's it for this episode. If you really enjoyed listening, why don't you drop a comment in the comments below? Make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel so that you get updates on when all of the next ones come out. That really helps grow this little community of people that are diving into regional business and celebrating and learning more from it. So really appreciate your support, and I can't wait to see you in the next one.